right, there you go. Wow. For a minute there, I didn't thought I was be able to come in. I was like locked out. All right. I have to say hello to you guys. Look at me. I'm in the Caribbean, chilling out, having a good time. Yeah, man. Jamaica. Anyway, hey, it's 8 o'clock on today's what? February 5th. Wow. Time is flying. We're 1 month into the Biden administration. Things are happening very fast. But we don't talk politics here. My name is John Pesci, and welcome to, of course, the cool crap that we loved. And tonight is going to be extra special because I have someone I just met that is going to come on, and he's a lieutenant general. It's going to be very cool to speak to him. But more importantly, we have to bring on the co-host. And tonight's about what? The 70s and the 80s movies, which I think I worked through the 80s. And the 70s, I was probably smoking pot. So let me bring on the co-host here, the man of the hour. You all know him as Walt Papavirus. Here he comes. I usually call him HPV. That's here, he's Mike for short. Here he is, Mr. Walt HPV. There you go. Hey, Walt.
Hey, don't ever use the word virus around me.
In 2021?
In 2021, 2020. If you ever get in a time machine, listen, I got a lot of stuff. I got to get a time machine to go back in time because I got to tell a lot of people about a lot of stuff that happened.
Yeah, like and what to invest into as well, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you can do a little investment. I would have loved to buy Tesla a little bit cheaper.
A little bit early. I'm killing on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is kicking.
Down a little bit. Well,
not. It's compared to when I bought it. It's way up.
I'll give you another one. Dogecoin. Dogecoin.
I don't
know.
I don't think so.
Those are that's for all the out of work comics who have $10 to spend. Go buy some Dogecoin.
Not for me, my friend. Well, we have hundreds of people looking at us and watching us currently as we speak.
Thousands across the world.
Yeah. And I was able to get that last minute movie that Jerry enjoys. So this will be really fun.
That's going to be cool. Yeah, I don't know if he's lieutenant general or retired general. He's a 3-star general. And he's actually slumming it today with us.
So he's slumming. Well, let me see. I have too many cameras here now. I can't actually see what. Let's see what it looks like. I can't see it. There it is. That's a promo. Retired.
That doesn't mean that Mike Morse got it right.
No, it doesn't mean it. Well, we'll find out from Jerry in a few moments.
We're going to find out from Jerry what it is, but we're going to do 70s movies. Fun movies. This isn't like, big blockbuster movies where we're going to be pulling out, the legend of Pi. We're not going to be pulling out, Annie Hall. We're going to be pulling out like dumb movies that come on and we recite the lines and, we know them all and just had fun with them.
Hey, look what it is. It's Charlie Fisher on a Friday night.
Yes. Charlie Fisher. You know what this is bad enough what it says about me and John, but it also says it about you because you're watching us. You don't have to be doing it.
Oh, look at this. We got the first music. We have Scott Drucker goes.
Isn't it Steel Magnolias?
I think you're right. I'm not really sure because I wouldn't watch Steel Magnolias or Magnolias. I know the movie. I know of the movie, but I don't know the movie.
Yeah. So we're gonna and also John brought up Jamaica because I'm going to Jamaica on Wednesday. So next week's show we're gonna try for Tuesday. I got Gary Michael Capetta.
Will you be in the Caribbean on Tuesday?
I will not. I will be in the Caribbean on Thursday.
Okay, so I know I could rob your house on Friday.
Do it on Wednesday.
Well, you're there. Well, another thing, Walt, is interesting. Before we even go into the movies here, I noticed that the face looks a little slimmer. What's going on with you? Are you ill?
I am ill. Yes. No, I told you I was doing some shake diet. Frankie Del Pizzo has got me on this Shakeology or something like that.
You look much healthier. You do look.
I feel good. I drink a lot of water.
Healthy. You're going to go to the beach in Jamaica and be buff.
Yes, I'm only going to be a little fat guy, not a big fat guy.
It's all good. And you're going to come back with some sun, vitamin D.
I am a lot of vitamin D. I'm coming back with.
So did you watch a lot of movies back in the 70s? Were you a big movie watcher? As a kid, we had limited channels, and you had to actually physically go to the movies when you were a kid.
Yes.
I used to go to Brooklyn to the Fort Wayne Theater, which is beautiful old theater. I believe it's still there. I don't know.
I did that, but there's also a part here I've never told you is that for like 10 or 12 years, my dad owned a video store in Jersey City.
I think you did tell me that. Yeah.
So I was getting, movies firsthand as they were coming out. I didn't even have to go to the movies to see them,
And this was on VHS or
On
Betamax?
VHS.
VHS.
Yeah, Betamax was on the other side of the country.
Yeah, no, I had I have in the other room here a Betamax machine with a ton of Betamax. Speaking of 80s movies, 70s, maybe 80s, I think I have the. It's called Sweet. Damn, it was the Rat Pack kids that were in there. Molly Ringwald,
The Breakfast Club.
the Breakfast Club, and I think it's called 16 Candles.
Yeah, well, that's one of the movies, bro.
Yeah. Okay, I have
That's
it on.
with, Anthony Michael Hall and Kelly LeBrock was in that.
That's right, the hot Kelly LeBrock before she.
Yeah, she looks so hot now.
Now she looks like toothpaste coming out of the tube in the bathroom. It's been laying there a few days. Actually,
she was married to what? Steven Seagal, also, who is now a citizen of Russia.
That's what I understand. He is a strange. Now, Steven Seagal I lived in Staten Island at one point, and he bought a nice house on the water in Staten Island. He was there for a while.
Loved him.
Yeah. Speaking of which, when I think of those movies, the one that became the big star out of those was whom? The guy
Van Damme?
No.
Chuck Norris?
No, I'm talking about the one who became the star out of the Breakfast Club guys.
Oh, Anthony Michael Hall, probably. Judd Nelson? Who the hell was the other one? Oh, Emilio Estevez.
Getting close, but no.
Molly Ringwald. There was nobody else. There was four of them.
No, wasn't the guy? Wasn't who plays Iron Man?
He wasn't in that.
He wasn't in all those movies.
He wasn't in the Breakfast Club.
So was me. Sorry.
He was in like not Better Off Dead. Something Zero. He died or something. He was Ducky. I think it was Ducky was the guy from John Cryer.
I could swear I remember him in the Breakfast Club. Like
He is not in the Breakfast Club. Jerry, can you research that for us?
Was he in Was he in 16 Candles?
Oh, he might have been in 16 Candles then.
I remember him trying to
drug addict boyfriend.
He was trying to get it on with one of the Molly Ringwald girls or whatever. I remember. Yeah.
All right, that might have been it. That might have been right.
Maybe that's why I remember. And he was like, like a kid that was drinking and all that kind of stuff.
Like real life.
Cheech and Chong. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do any Cheech and Chong. But these are the movies that, listen, you'll know everybody will know every one of these movies.
I think, look who's here, your brother. Stanley Theater, Cooley High, and Cornbread double feature.
Yeah. So when we were kids, we went up to the Stanley Theater, and it was a double feature. And the movie was Cooley High, and there was, I think who was in that was Lawrence Hilton Jacobs from Cotter. And then the second movie was Cornbread, Earl, and Me. It was about a black kid who got shot or something like that. That's
what we should do. We should both give thumbs up or thumbs down on the movies that come across tonight, just like Siskel and Ebert. You I don't know. You could be Ebert, right? Or I should be Siskel.
Oh, you should be Ebert. I'll be Siskel because I'm losing weight
first. So who would have a stroke before you and me first? That's the question. Yeah. I'll be drooling over here.
All right, let's bang out some movies here so we can get the Jerry.
Bang it out. That's the word. That's the word that I like to hear. Bang it out. All right. Let's see. That's what my wife must be very happy. Come on, let's bang it out. I got to go to work. All right.
Great movie. This was on Jerry's list too.
Yeah, that's great.
I have to bring it back up again. Great movie.
I forgot about that. I haven't seen it since then, but it was a great movie. And they're both great comic actors.
Yeah. And I swear this happens today with who we have in Congress, that they fight with each other and they see how they can get us fighting against them and them fighting against us. And at the end of the day, the Democrat hands over $1 to the Republican and says, "You won today, but we're on again tomorrow." Right there, Morty.
That's what I understand. I understand that they put this big show and then they all go out to dinner and drinks together and just
That's it, man. It's like
the Iron Sheik. I'm not in politics, I'm not. If I was in politics, I could tell you when COVID would end. So
yeah,
that's a
great movie. Great movie. So they take the homeless guy, which is Eddie Murphy on the street, the rich guy who is Dan Aykroyd, who works on Wall Street, and they bet $1. These two wretched old man, Don Amici and Ralph Bellamy, and I'll get over here. They bet $1 that they can switch their lives with no problem. And they do until they figure it out at the end. And you know what the best part of that movie was?
No.
Jamie Lee Curtis, you saw her boobies.
There's not much there with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes, they were.
Is there really?
Yes.
Really?
Jamie Lee-
Does your right hand remember that?
Yes.
More importantly,
Shoulder hurt.
this is Family Show. More importantly, though, wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis everyone known as the hermaphrodite woman?
She's a hermaphrodite.
Yeah, that's what I
You
heard.
know who told me? QAnon. QAnon told me.
QAnon. All right, how about? Well, I'm going to say that. How about this? The greatest movie ever. One of the greatest movies.
One of the greatest movie ever.
And
And,
by the
look
way-
at that. Look at the cast.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Look at the cast. Bill Murray. People still do that. The Cinderella story.
Yeah.
The Cinderella story. There he is, stepping up to hole number 5. Rodney Dangerfield was great. You must have had great, when electricity was first invented. Chevy Chase, Ted Knight.
You know, I have to tell you that today you are shining with all your knowledge that's really not needed tonight.
I told you, man, this is crazy stuff, man. I know all of this.
There's a lot of great story. You could do a whole show on Caddyshack. There's so many great stories about Rodney when he was on the set and all this kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
the one thing that really gets in my mind about that movie, he's playing golf. What's his name? Chevy Chase, and he does the thing where he goes na 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 na. That's stuck in my head because I kind of like meditate to that. Na 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 na.
Yeah, that's what he was just flipping around, hitting with one hand and knocking the ball into the hole.
There's something cool about that sound, and so I usually meditate. I go, no, I'm an idiot.
Isn't it that's the same sound that Steve Austin's eye made in the $6 Million Man?
You're right with the eye. That's right. Oh, you guys spent a lot on a phone in the 70s and 80s. What does that mean? I don't know. $100. Weird Science. Yeah,
that's Weird Science. Was that? No, that wasn't with who'chamacallit in it.
She had the big beautiful lips in there too. I have to go lower.
Well, that was Kelly LeBron.
I have to lower this camera because I have another camera here and I can't see the chat because I set this new camera up, which I was showing you earlier. Look at this.
Do it. Look at this.
I hate it. And I'm gonna have to move it because it's an iPhone 8 Plus, but I'm not liking it. All right, so I'm gonna bring up another one here real quick. Let's see. Put this right over your face. There you go.
Come on. One of the best all-time movies. This would be every Sunday at 11:30, bar none. If this was the one that was on, you watched it.
Yeah,
right.
I did. Big fan of Abbott and Costello. Huge fan. As a matter of fact, Abbott and Costello to me, and even the regular 30-minute shows were to the greatest. And I love every single and Stinky and all the great Mr. Fields and all the great characters.
That Joe Bessa?
Yeah, I could sit on a Saturday morning right now and watch that and still be happy.
You can buy them. I have them. I have all of the Abbott and Costellos.
Also, I remember also in the 80s or 70s as a kid watching Monster Trucks on Saturday morning. Remember Monster Trucks?
No,
that was a big thing. Monster Trucks rolling over cars and stuff. Evil.
With this movie, I remember that they were opening up the crates, and in the crates were Dracula and Frankenstein. And Frankenstein would get up, and Dracula would go, oh, he'd do this and check.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
The guy, Abbott was Chick. So through the whole movie, he was like, Chick.
Oh, Caligula and Debbie Does Dallas. Yeah, they were really big also. As a matter of fact,
they were huge. They were huge on Reel to Reel.
Actually, I remember Caligula. People talking about like, oh, it's disgusting, all the scenes and stuff.
Crazy movie.
Yeah. Donald Nielsen goes, "Who's on first? I don't know. Third base." All right. So let's go one more here. This is one of the greatest movies of all time.
This I can recite just about every line from this movie.
And that's why you don't own Amazon.
Now this is the part where Igor meets Dr. Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein? It's Frankenstein. You're putting me on. No, it's pronounced Frankenstein. You also say Frederick,
right? Cloris Leachman.
Cloris Leachman was in that. She was Frau Blucher, which I found something out, by the way. You know what Frau Blucher meant?
No.
Glue. It was glue in German. That's why the horse kept the horse kept going.
That makes so much sense. 50 years
I
later.
found that out the other day when she died.
And she was the one who used to say, "He was my boyfriend."
At the end, he was. Would the doctor like a glass of warm milk? Ovaltine.
One of the greatest movies. It's just funny and family oriented, and it's got a lot of
Terry Garr.
Yeah,
Terry Garr was in it, and Gene Wilder and Peter Boyle. Peter Boyle is the father on Raymond.
Marty Feldman.
Marty Feldman was Igor, not Igor. What was the girl's name? That was always on Carol Burnett. Oh my God,
always on Carol Burnett.
Mr.
Burnett.
She was the one that Taffeta, darling, don't touch the taffeta. Oh, I forgot what her name was. And then she married the monster at the end.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, she's that hot chick. She was a hot chick. I remember she was like a real sexy kind of.
Oh my God, I forgot her name. Taffeta.
Well, somebody will bring it up in the comments. And by the way, that is a good show. Lost in Space. That wasn't a movie. That was a TV show, but that was a great TV show. I actually loved it. Let's bring up one more because I want to bring on Jerry. And this is like another classic of.
Am I wrong? Did I pick bad movies?
No, but you're picking movies that the whole world would agree in this 80s like this. These were great. They were like big movies. They were huge. And you still watch them over and over again, kind of a thing. They were just good, fun teenage humor.
Ferris Bueller. If I'm not mistaken, no, it wasn't. He did Ferris Bueller, but he did War Games before this.
I think you're right.
He did War Games before this, and he was actually up for the part, and he was going to be Alex P. Keaton on Family Ties.
And instead
he turned it down to go do War Games, and then that's how Michael J. Fox got that role.
Right. Michael J. Fox wanted to do the big platform of all those great movies, Back to the Futures.
I got that on here. We could do a whole show on Back to the Future, by the way.
There's so many. Oh, there's more. Die Hard. Yeah. You're a big fan. I won't even say anything. Go ahead. Tell us about Die Hard, because I know this is just you watch this to this day a lot. So
I watch this anytime I can. Die Hard 2, Die Hard 3. Die Hard 4 is when he's with his daughter. Die Hard 5 is when he's with his son in Russia. What can I say about it? John McClane is the best character that has ever donned the screens. Played by Bruce Willis, whose real name is Walter Willis.
I'm sorry to hear all of this. Okay. And by the way, we went down from 100 people to 900 people just on that based on
Tree. What was the name of the building they were in? There's a little trivia question for you.
You got
Nakatomi Plaza.
Wow. Oh,
wow, that's easy.
You see, and meanwhile, we would have thousands and tens of thousands of viewers right now if instead we were talking about something like insurrection. But all you got to do is make up something that might happen, and you get 650,000 views. Us. I think so. Hey, let's 20 minutes in. Let's please bring in
Jerry.
He's waiting in the wings now. Jerry. Now I hadn't met Jerry till tonight. I know you've met him before, but Lieutenant Jerry P. Martinez is a commander of the United States.
Retired.
Air Forces. Yeah, Japan, and commander of the 5th Air Force Pacific Forces, Yokota Air Base, which I hope I have right, in Japan. And he's a senior U.S. military representative in Japan. He's responsible for managing bilateral security issues, overseeing joint bilateral exercises, administrating the status of forces agreements, improving combat readiness, enhancing the quality of life for over 62,000 military and Department of Defense civilian personnel, and 42,000 dependents. Wow, that's a lot of kids to take care of.
Listen, in high school, I won funniest guy.
Did you?
That's it. That's my resume next to Jerry's.
Well, compared to Jerry, yours is very short. And I wasn't talking about your resume.
Oh, all right. That's the diet I'm on. It's a diet.
Yeah, you actually it looks good. Looks like you lost weight. It looks really good. Well, we should all get on the diet. But more importantly, let's bring on
Jerry.
Jerry, this is Lieutenant Jerry P. Martinez, and welcome, Jerry. Let's bring him in here. Right, there we go.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? John, Walt, thanks so much for letting me join you guys today.
I understand that you're in Vegas.
Yeah, good old sunny Las Vegas, nice weather, lots of gambling, shows, all stopped due to COVID. But anyway, still fun to be here, and hopefully it'll all get picking back up pretty soon.
I can't imagine moving. I have a lot of friends in Vegas, and I have dry skin in New Jersey. I'm wondering what's going to happen to me in Vegas. I'm going to be a turtle.
Yeah, you might as well give up, man. You'll look like a lizard. You come out here. It's over.
How is it in Vegas right now? Is in reference to like the casinos opening, the shows?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, it's getting better. It really is. We've got right now most of the casinos are open at a limited capacity, but they're open. A lot of the restaurants are back open. The only thing that's not going on, which I really miss, are shows, sporting events, concerts, all that kind of good fun stuff.
Yeah, so you could go to a comedy club already, but they have the big shows. Like I remember they had like the Circus du Soleil and all. That's all open still as well.
No, those are all closed. They're none of that is open yet. It's very limited gambling and a few restaurants. So yeah, a long way to go still.
That's kind of like those big shows are kind of like the Broadway of Las Vegas in a sense.
Yeah, they are. And it brings a lot of people into town, and plus they're just fun to go to. It's a great evening to get out and go do that. But hoping it's going to get back going here pretty soon.
I found out from somebody who does that in the business, and they said that they're not opening any of it until they're sure that they're going to stay open, because it's so expensive to open it that they can't afford to open it and then close it again.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, what some of the hotels have done is they've started opening like the hotel portion like on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then closing like Monday to Thursday. Wow. To just try to save money, because you don't get enough guests during the week. But, I go down to some of the casinos, was just down at some last weekend, and they're getting busy again. There's a lot of people in them. People are coming back. I think we're over the hump, I hope, and then on our way to some good stuff here in the future.
You could tell by the rates. If you go to stay at the Bellagio and it's $86 versus $250, you know where we're at.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah,
that's
you better believe it. You better.
So let's get this out of the way. Jerry, thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you guys. It's
thank you.
It's an honor to serve our country. I retired from the Air Force 2 years ago, and I left, as you guys said, as the commander of U.S. Forces Japan and 5th Air Force, and it was 33 years, on active duty and a blast. Man, I had a ball. Saw the world, did a lot, lots of deployments and lots of things going on. And now it's great to be on this side of the fence and just enjoying life a little bit.
That, it must be amazing to be. I mean, first of all, I have tremendous respect for anyone in the military, because I really do. Military, the police, all the security thing, everything. It's really a tough gig. And what you did, you're living in another country. I mean, even though you were probably on an American base, you're living around you're a little peapod in the middle of a huge culture, kind of. That must be bizarre.
It was, John. I was the senior officer in the Netherlands on one of my tours, and then I was the senior officer in Japan. And wow, it is very different when you're thrown into living in a little Dutch village, and all your neighbors are Dutch. It's not like you live, on a base or somewhere. Now in Japan, I was on a base, but spent most of my time in Tokyo doing negotiations and things with the Japanese government. So it was weird. I mean, but it's an experience. You learn a lot. If you're an adventurous eater, you really love Japan. There's a lot of things on your plate are moving sometimes, when you're sitting there eating. So you got to be gutsy to kind of handle that menu. But it was a good time.
Now with me and Walt, there's nothing on our plates moving. It only has one direction.
John, in other words, while you were doing a little gig making people laugh with jokes at jesters, he was negotiation with the Japanese.
Yeah, we did little things like dodging North Korean missiles going over the country. There was some stuff to do, but it was good. It was a lot of fun.
And I was writing jokes about how not getting women pregnant is like Vietnam. You have to pull out early.
Yeah, we weren't writing a whole lot of jokes, not at that time. But
right.
I will tell you this, though. One of the things that I'm not joking when I say this, one of the, we would work some 22-hour days. I mean, when North Korea especially was shooting missiles overhead, and we were very close to potentially going to war with them. President Trump was very serious about where his red lines were, and that guy didn't budge, if you crossed them. And Kim Jong-un was getting very close. But I'll tell you the one thing that I really thank you guys for is, when you're doing that kind of a job, when I would have that just a couple hours that I step away, I sit and I turn on the TV. And man, having some comedians and some, entertainers and stuff. It just takes you out of that whole mess you're in and just puts you in a whole new place, to decompress, to laugh a little bit. And especially right now in this world of what's going on, man, we could use some comedy. We could use some smiles. We could use some laughter. So I really appreciate what you two guys do. I really do.
Right. You want to know something? And I wouldn't plan on bringing this up. It's going to take me a minute to get this. It's right behind this green wall. But when I was working the Brigada, there was a guy who kept emailing me from Iraq, who was, matter of fact, I'm gonna show you what he sent me. You're gonna like this. Hey, you two guys talk about a gay movie. I'll be right back in a moment.
Okay. Hey, Walt, man, how you doing, bud?
So you brought up High Plains Drifter.
Oh, dude, that's
all right.
The movie.
I never saw it. John never saw it. So you got to tell me what it is.
Yeah. If you look at what critics say about Clint Eastwood, many of them say it's the best movie he's ever done. I mean, it's that level. And what it really is, this guy just rides into town in the opening scene on a horse, and before it's all over, he has the townspeople painting the entire town red. He's got most of it on fire. He's basically slept with all the women, either by choice or not by choice. He's taken over all the commerce and mercantile, runs the hotel, and he basically destroys this town. And the town has paid this guy because some really bad people who killed a guy named Marshal Jim Duncan, some guys who had killed him were getting out of prison and coming back to the town. So they hired this drifter to protect them against the bad guys. And what you learn at the very end of this, after he kills all these people, destroys the town, what you learn is that he's the ghost of the marshal that town let die. They all watched him get whipped to death by these bad guys, and he comes back and makes everybody pay. And in the very end, he's riding out on his horse like Clint Eastwood does, and he just disappears. He just vanishes. And there's a whole bunch of symbolism, a lot of good stuff, but you really ought to watch this one. I mean, it is
tonight.
You just ruined it for us.
I'm going to watch it tonight. I'm hooked.
I know. Yeah,
I'm ready.
Hey, I cried when he died.
Now you're gonna like. I want to just show you this real quick because you appreciate this. And Walt, I never told you this either. That Walt's a woman dressed in drag. That's what no, I was going to tell you was
I'm a they.
I got an email from a guy. And I'm not going to bring up his name, but he was from Queens, New York. He's like a sergeant in the armed forces, and he was in Iraq. And he would say to me, "Hey, I saw your tape or something on YouTube. You're very funny." And the guys have been watching it during like lunch or in the mess hall every day, and they laugh at it when they're eating. And then we go out and do our day or whatever. Yeah. And can you send me anything? So I said, sure. So I sent them to Iraq, like these DVDs of all my dirty jokes and stuff, and he sent me back thanking me, and he kept emailing me, and he always would say, stay safe, stay well, stay healthy, stay safe. So I'm in Atlantic City at the Brigada Hotel one day, and a guy, he came with his wife. The day he flew home, I was in Brigada. He came with his wife to see the show. Wow. And before the show, he comes to me and he says, I'm here. And I bring him into the green room, and he goes, I brought you a gift. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, I got to show you this. So he gives me this thing here, a certificate of
look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he says to me, in Iraq, there was the flag when they knocked down Hussein and all of that. Flew above, and he gives me this flag that flew above their before the statues was taken down and everything.
Yeah.
And he came with his wife, and I was like flabbergasted. And at the end of the show, we went out, we had a couple of drinks, said hello, and he went home, and he sent me some letters. Thank you. He got called back. And the sad part of this, I love this. I mean, I keep this cherished thing in my heart. But the sad part is when he I got blurred out. What happened was there you go. I'll fix that. Okay. I look better blurry. So the sad part is that I got an email from his wife that he was blown up in a Humvee he's passed away. He got killed in action.
Wow.
And he had a wife and a kid, all
there you go. Now you're back.
Yeah. So it's so sad. And he's a really great man. And And
Wow.
when he was in Atlantic City, I mentioned he was in the audience. The whole audience, I mentioned where he was from and what he was doing. The whole audience, 1,200 people stood up and applauded. He was crying.
Yeah.
Because I told them where he'd been at the end of my show, and the people went nuts. And they just got up and I showed them what they gave me. And it was just a beautiful moment. And then who knew? And he kept telling me, be safe, be safe. And meanwhile, he got blown up on a Humvee. And I'm not going to mention his name, but he's from Queens. Yeah. Family guy. I hope his family is taken care of. He's a really wonderful man.
Well, what an awesome story. Those, and it goes back to what I was saying. I mean, the fact that he went to your show like that right away, I'm very sincere in that, is that one of the things you just really love, and I've been deployed to the Middle East a lot of my life, is that moment or two you have where we get to put guys like you on the screen. And it just takes you away. It takes you home. Takes you out of that.
Yeah, to me, it's not about me. To me, it's more or less that they just wanted to laugh. And I understand in that environment, it's such stress. They need to blow it off. And I guess hearing some dick jokes and having a steak is probably a good thing,
That's right.
I don't want to bring the show down. Let's go right into
Too late, John.
Yeah. I'm going to be talking about Walt like that one day. He was a
oh, my God. Good thing I don't know Humvee.
Now, I'm going to bring up one of the movies that you gave me, Walt. Are you ready? And
go ahead.
I'm sure Jerry loves this, too. Everyone loves this.
Oh my God. Yeah.
How could you not like Vacation?
Dude, Wally World, man. That's where it's all at. That was awesome movie.
What's great about those movies is the vacation movies. And I don't know if you ever noticed this, John. Jerry, you probably did. But in every one of these movies, the kids were played by two different people.
Yeah.
So in the first movie and the second movie, the kids were played by two different. One of them, I think, was Anthony Michael Hall, and another one was the kid that was in Back to the Future, Lorraine's brother. Hervey,
and
Jason Hervey.
I remember loving the mom, the blonde. I remember thinking she was hot, the blue eyes and blonde hair back in the 80s.
Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah, who was, by the way, married to a baron, a very wealthy baron. She didn't need to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't she married to Al Pacino?
No, she's married to a baron.
Oh,
some guy with a ton of dough. And by the way, every one of these were good. From the first one, even the one, the Vegas one, and they were just all. Christmas Vacation was like fantastic. I mean, they're all great. It's just great comedy, really great comedy.
Jerry,
even the modern.
Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. All right, let's go to one of Jerry's. Now I know Jerry has his own list of stuff here. Here's Jerry's. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh no!
Yeah.
Here's one of Jerry's.
Oh yeah.
I loved it. Loved it. Oh, there was three. I think there were three of them.
Right? Yeah, that show. What a perfect cast. Getting Jackie Gleason on there as the loudmouth redneck sheriff. The funny stuff that he would say, and then he's got an idiot son. Traveling with him in the car everywhere. I remember one of the lines, I don't remember what the son did, but he said, boy, when I get home, I'm going to slap your mama. I'm going
to punch your mama in the mouth.
Yeah. It was like, they just classic kind of moves like that, and then the concept was pretty cool. Very simply that you're going to get a guy who goes and stirs up all the highways in a Trans Am to hide a big old semi that's hauling butt and taking, bootleg booze, across the border.
Didn't he say that some bitch?
Yeah, some bitch.
Yeah, everything was a some bitch.
That's what he said. I'm gonna punch your mama in the mouth.
Yeah. I like where he gets pulled over by another, like a highway patrolman in like Louisiana. I don't know where the hell he was, and this highway patrolman's using bad language, and he's like, I would ask you to not use that language in front of my son, blah blah blah. And then the guy says, I'm sorry, sir, and he goes, okay, good, now F off. He just freaking no mercy. I mean, I think Jackie Gleason, I don't know if he ever played a role better than that. It was so fun, and people related to it.
I think it was Buford T. Justice, right?
That's right, Buford T. Justice. Yeah. And then I like when was it Jerry Reed's in that bar and he runs over all the bikers' motorcycles, with his truck. There's just a lot of vintage moments in that movie.
And I don't even like country music, but that song they used to play was great.
Eastbound and Down.
That's great.
Eastbound and Down. Yeah. Loaded up in the truck.
That can't be done.
Great.
That's right.
That was Snowman. Snowman, Bandit, Snowman and Bandit. with their handles on the CB.
That's
and then
correct.
they gave Sally Struthers the name Frog because he wanted a jumper.
Yeah,
And
he did.
and that
Now,
car.
remember, he said he only takes off his hat for one thing.
That's
He
right.
said in the movie, and he did. So
I
we all
forgot
know how that turned out.
But tell me that black Trans Am, that was the
77.
77.
Trans Am. 77?
It was a
I don't
77.
remember.
I had one. I had two. I had them back in the day. I really did. I had a red candy apple red with white leather interior that I destroyed at the beach. Got in a car. But those were great cars. The Trans Am, they were low to the ground. They were tight. They were beautiful cars.
Great in the snow.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they had the pop off tops.
But the T-tops, right?
T-tops. Yeah,
That's right, T-tops. And then, after that movie, people were driving them all over, man. It really put that car on the map. It is a badass car. It's a good looking ride.
Turbocharged. All cars weren't turbocharged
right.
back there. The Trans Am, that black one, was a turbocharged Trans Am. That was like a new thing. The turbocharge was like really a big thing. You'd be able to go, push it up and really make it move. Here's another one of Jerry's.
Oh yeah, that started the whole series right there. So many of those movies that would follow after that first one, and it was cool to see Harrison Ford in like a different way, because you watched him, on Star Wars and that kind of stuff, and this was just a whole different character. This nerdy professor guy that gets out of the classroom and he's a badass. And he's out, doing stuff all over the world. I love that movie. I thought it was great, and even sometimes, you ruin the follow-on ones. They're not as good as the originals, but shoot, the follow-ons were great. I thought they were really, really good.
Let me tell you a little trivia real quick. Remember the scene where the guy came out with the knives and he started,
Yeah.
He started doing all this, and Harrison Ford just watching him do all that with the knife. He just pulls his gun out and shoots him, and he walks away.
Yeah.
The reason he did that wasn't in the script. What happened was Harrison Ford had a bad case of diarrhea that day, and he had to go.
Get out of here.
I swear, you look it up. Look it up on IMDb. He just had enough. He had to go end the scene. He shot him and walked away.
Wow.
And it was so funny they kept it because it was hilarious.
It was awesome.
Crazy. The part that's kind of freaky in the movie is the very, very end, after you see all the stuff he went through to get, his prized possession. And then the government just takes it in a warehouse in a crate with tens of thousands of crates and just puts it away.
That's it.
And that was
like the covenant.
Yeah.
Sounds a little bit like today. Huh?
What was that?
It says sounds a little bit like what's goes on today.
Oh.
Sorry for that. I was trying not to add these to the stream, but you can anyway.
Can you hear it?
Very professional, John.
Yes, I'm very professional tonight. There you go. I was doing something up, but I got it. I got it on the screen. I was going to tell you that one of my favorite movies, which was this.
Magic.
Loved it. It was awesome.
What was that, Magic?
Yeah.
I was too afraid of that movie.
How could you be afraid?
Because I had the Charlie McCarthy doll. I'm not a creepy bastard like you with all those dolls.
I love that movie. That was one of my favorite movies. But then again, that's me. Let's another one of Jerry's. Here. You can't not like this movie.
Oh, dude.
Great.
To this day, all generations have seen that movie. Young kids still watch it. The characters were awesome. Hell, if you go down on the Strip in Las Vegas, there are more Willy Wonka slot machines than probably any other theme on the Strip. That's still that popular today.
They remade this with Johnny Depp, I think, right? Was it Johnny Depp?
Didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. They called it Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
It wasn't.
Willy Wonka.
When I was a kid to watch that, it was magical. It was like magical. You looked at this world of candy and this cool guy and all this kind of stuff. It was magical. And you look at the thing with Johnny Depp, it's like it's got a dark kind of to it. Yeah,
I wasn't a fan at all. I mean, you remember he goes in the little room that's backwards and he does the lock, opens the door, and then you're in the big candy waterfall. And as a kid, watching that, you almost feel like you're there. I mean, they made that movie well.
Who didn't want to go there?
Yeah, you're like, man, I want an Oompa Loompa. How do I get one? It was all that kind of stuff. And it's iconic movie. I still, to this day, as old as I am, I'll watch that show and love it.
Sure.
I'll watch it too. Hey, let me ask you guys a question and tell me if you feel the same way. At the very end of the movie, the kid Charlie walks over and he's got his little gobstopper.
Yep.
Everlasting gobstopper.
And he walks over to the desk and puts it back on the desk and tells him, hey, no, thank you anyway. And Gene Wilder grabs it, turns around and says to him something like,
you won.
Yeah, you won. But I always got the impression, every time I watched it, even as a kid to this day, I always think he was like doubling back. Like he didn't really mean it. He just realized he was being an idiot and he was going to make up for it at that moment. I always got this impression in my head. Like he knew he screwed up and he figured, all right, I'm going to do the right thing. Not that it was intentional. I know that's weird.
See, I always took it as a test because, when you see his character in the movie, he's not the guy who would scream and yell, and he was yelling, you get nothing, and I think he was stressing the kid to see if he really, even after being bullied to the nth degree, he had a good heart. And, so he chews his butt out and that would be a motivator. Even his grandfather leans over and says, Charlie, we're going to go give this gobstopper to Slugworth. We're going to get back at Willie. And Charlie goes, no, and I'm going to do the right thing. And I think it was a test because Willie wanted somebody who'd do the right thing. Boy, this is deep for a cartoon, but that was my thoughts.
That was who was the grandfather? Anybody remember him?
Oh yeah.
What was his name?
He's a famous actor.
Yeah,
Grandpa Joe. What was
Jack Albertson?
That's
Chico
right.
and the Man.
Yeah. Played that role good too.
A brain full of useless information.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
How about this?
Oh, dude. Running up the stairs in Philadelphia, still to this day, millions of tourists, go running around trying to recreate the Rocky scene. Going up there, this, poor young, really nothing fighter, and he gets a shot at taking on a champion. It's a great story. I mean, just
every comic was doing, Adrian. Every comic was doing that. That was like
Rich Little's still doing it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
But did they take that? Didn't they take that statue down yet, or no?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been to Philly.
I think they pulled that down.
We could check.
Well, I'll tell you, the show was, once again, they did pretty good with some of the follow-ons. He goes and beats up the Russians, and I
love that one, Drago. I love that one when he took on Drago. Clubber Lang was Mr. T. I love that one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tommy Morrison, Tommy Gunn was the other guy in part 5. I mean, I love them all.
Me too. Oh, great. Now, this is another one of Jerry's, and I got to tell you, I like this now better than when I was younger. And you'll know why, I guess.
All right. I loved it.
Yeah.
When you were younger, you loved this?
Yeah,
I love it now.
I still do too. I just watched it literally 2 nights ago. It was on, TV.
I guess when I was a kid, I was too macho or whatever. I remember thinking, that's like a girl's movie. The girls singing and dancing. But I will say, Olivia Newton-John in that black tight stretch pants with the long hair coming down, dancing around was hot as hell. But I remember thinking, if you like this, if you're 14, you like this, you're a girl kind of thing.
Well, what's funny is that movie came out in '78. And how many years later, and you still hear those songs on the radio?
They're great.
They play them today, like they're a modern, just recently released, tune. So it hit a great nerve with a lot of people around the world that still enjoy it. And I've watched it like a bazillion times. And what's really funny? I don't know if you guys have ever read the conspiracy behind Grease. There's okay, ready for this?
Bring it on, Jerry.
Bring it on.
In the opening scene, they're splashing around in the water, and and then all of a sudden they transform and they're at Rydell High. There's a lot of theorists out there who believe that actually Sandy died in that opening scene. She drowned, and that the whole thing is her kind of in between lives attempt to try to get to heaven and to make things right. And
Come
at
on.
the
I heard
get
something
ready.
about that.
At the very end, they're in the car and
And they fly.
it lifts off and it goes into the clouds. And you look and it's like you're going into heaven, and her story ends. And that has gone all over, the internet and places for many, many years. But I think it was John Travolta. He wouldn't deny it, but kind of hinted like, nah, that really wasn't what was going on. And then I don't remember who the actual producer was, but they came out and said, no, that really wasn't the intent of it. It was just.
I don't think so. Because
yeah.
Grease 2 had Frenchie. It had Eugene Skolnick in it.
Yeah.
I just saw that recently, like 3 days ago or whatever, 3 weeks ago. So they were in the second movie. So it couldn't have been I don't know if it'd be a dream, but I did hear that they died in that opening scene.
Yeah, that's what some people think, and I never really bought into that story. I think it was just kind of a fun musical, and there were some good characters in there. They did that one well.
John, look up the QAnon website and see if that's true.
Hey, look, that's drop number 72.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great movie.
Now, by the way, I was born in Brooklyn, and I lived 7-8 blocks away from where they went and the old lousy food and warm beer and all that stuff. 2001 disco, and you couldn't get in that place. You could not get near that place when that movie came out. That became the craziest.
The place.
Yeah, the place. And this was, to me, this was really cool because I remember everyone was taking hustle lessons and learning how to dance. And dance was it was in everyone's living room. It wasn't like just, people that did that. It invaded us kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, the effect that movie had. So I'm from a little old country town, maybe 10, 12,000 people in Oklahoma. And in the middle of our town, they sealed off like a bunch of streets and had a disco dancing contest in Oklahoma. And you're like, seriously? Because, everybody just listens to country music back in those days there. But that's the effect that movie had. It just got people into a whole genre, that they never thought they would be in. And people were wearing those white clothes, and doing this with the arm out and all that. Yeah, on the dance floors.
Jerry, you won that contest, didn't you?
I did. I'll admit.
Were you dancing, Walt? Were you doing the dance?
I was not doing. I tried. I couldn't do it though. The hustle.
Yeah, I tried once. I think I broke my kneecap. I think I was the end of that. But
what struck me with that movie was that I was a young kid. I think it came out in 77.
77.
So I was pretty fairly young still, and I had never been to a movie that had that kind of language and had like some of the scenes and topless girls and all those kind of things. And so that was like my first movie with that kind of a thing, and I had never seen before. And I was like, whoa, this is very, very different for me. And so I remember it well.
Yeah. And that's another movie, Jerry, that they still play those songs on the radio today.
Oh, it does. Something that's crazy. I saw this documentary on the Bee Gees, and all those famous tunes that come out of that thing, Staying Alive, there's a whole litany of them that they listed. They wrote those songs in literally like about 3 or 4 days. And all they got was like a notice that said, this is what the movie's going to kind of be about. We need you to just write some songs. And every one of those songs still play today. I mean, what a musical, just
a lot of people
genius.
didn't like them though. I remember back in those days, it was punk rock was coming out, and there was the classic rock and roll, the 60s and 70s, Cream and all that kind of stuff. And so people, when this came out, they were like, they got these guys with these high voices singing like women and blah. I remember there was a lot of the rock people looking at it this is a stupid thing. And then they used to have roller skating rinks where you'd go in, they have disco nights where you'd roller skate around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's so true, and the Bee Gees even commented on that they weren't welcome when they brought that kind of music out. It was not accepted by the people. And then now, gosh, how many years later you hear all those songs still on the radio?
43, 45 years later.
Yeah,
definitely ahead of the time. Here's another one at Jerry's, and this is great comedy.
Oh my goodness. I'm a pilot, in the Air Force. I was for 30 some years. And
right.
So, I looked at this thing with a real open mind, and it's hilarious. That movie I mean, just first look at the cast of characters, and then the whole theme, and everybody remembers Otto the autopilot, and him deflating, and the whole, there's just so many things in that movie that were just funny. I love that show.
I wonder what
Those
the
guys
cancel
were
culture.
geniuses.
Can you do that now? Where you go, oh, that's okay. I speak jive. Yo, sister. Blah 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 blah. blah.
Right. Well, what made that so funny is that was Barbara Billingsley, which is like the Leave It to Beaver mom, right? Yeah. She's like the most pure, on TV with Ward and the Beav and Wally and, just this all-American family. And then on this movie, she's over there as the jive talker and says, it's okay, I speak jive. And then they just go at it. They go at it. And then these guys are getting pissed at her. That's a great scene. Great scene.
Jive don't want no help. Jive ain't going to get no help. No, Chump. Chump don't want no help. Chump ain't going to get no help.
How about when they were punching the nun? There's a whole line of people punching the nun.
They're slapping them.
They're beating them up. And, I mean,
what was the great line with the shtick, though? Because it was like the shtick inside the cockpit. First of all, you had the guy who was from
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No, the white guy with the gray, Peter Graves.
Oh, Peter Graves.
And he kept saying, "Hey, Jimmy, do you ever see two men wrestling in the neck?" Like he was doing all those kind of lines. He was like, they were trying to make him a pedophile, but they always had those silly lines. What was the lines where it was the double entendre-ish kind of line where he would say like,
Turkish bath?
No, it was something like.
Did you like to go to the Turkish bath?
Yeah, that was what he said to the kid. But then when somebody would come in, he would say something like, "They're like, Shirley, you don't plan on going there?" And he goes, "No, of course I do. And don't call me Shirley." That kind of humor. I love that. I love that kind of humor. That's beautiful. That
was Leslie Nielsen. That's what made put Leslie Nielsen into comedy. He used to be the bad guy in the TV show SWAT. All of that kind of stuff. And then he became this, and then he went to the Naked Gun, and he became a comedy classic.
And as an older guy too. I mean, he's like Rodney. Guy. Like Rodney, one of those guys that made it in his 50s to 70s, which is usually the opposite. Usually you make it younger and you're trying to get back your whole entire life. And here's another one of Jerry's favorites, which everyone's.
That's a great movie. One of my, I could probably recite every line from that movie.
Hit us. Go ahead, Walt. Go ahead.
No. Jerry, give me that you were in the service. That movie was about the service. What it was one of your favorite movies. Tell us why.
Oh, he's muted.
I'm sorry. The service members, they really loved it. Great characters and funny story and all that. But the leadership, the older guys didn't care for it too much, because it made the service just look like a clown show. These guys are stealing top secret urban assault vehicles. They're going off into Russia, and doing stuff. They're in the general's house with the police girls, doing things with the spatula and all that. Yeah. So it's funny that, and even to this day, it's kind of funny. Even in my job in Japan, I'll talk to some guys and I'll go, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they'll say, "Training." And it's just like it's just set up. And you go, "What training?"
Army training, sir.
That's right, Army training, sir. And again, the U.S. Army leadership's not a real fan of all that, but the troops loved it.
Jerry, what was the urban assault vehicle's name? This is right here. It was the EM50.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
The EM50. It was General Barnaky's project.
That's right.
He must be great around the holidays.
He owes me money.
Trivia.
Yeah, that movie. I like the way it ended. The weird captain who, what was his name? John Larroquette.
Yeah, John Larroquette.
Yeah, who's just a mess. He gets shipped off to Alaska or somewhere to cold country, and then. John Candy. How about John Candy was like, well, because we're in Turkey or whatever, he had all those weird rules. You make my bed, but if we were here, I'd make your bed, and he just played that role really well. And even then you'll hear those jokes, people do that to this day in the military, because we're here, you make my bed. It all comes back from that movie.
That's funny because I do remember that when the guy, he says to him, I'm on the bottom, you're on the top. If we're, you got to make my bunk. We're in Germany. If we're in Italy, I have to make your bunk.
That's right.
We're in Germany. Sorry, it's the rules.
Well, how about when he's teaching the guy how to play poker, and he goes, "Let me see your hand," and he looks at it, and he goes, "If I were you, I'd bluff me," and then he does it, and of course loses all his money. John Candy vintage, man. It was perfect.
He put. I got a full house, and he goes, "What do you got? You got 2 4s and a king." Listen, if you would have had 4 4s, you would have beat me. But you had 2 4s. Hey, you're getting good at this.
That's right. He's like, I bluff, but again, I'm Mr. Vegas. I think he calls himself.
He did. He goes, "Hit with me. I bet it all, Mr. Vegas."
Yeah, that movie was great. Ooh. So, as a military guy, and especially the first time I saw that, I was a kid. And, I watched that movie. And it was the longest movie, like forever in that day.
Yeah.
It was a really long movie. But what's crazy is I didn't understand it. As a kid, man, there's some weird scenes at the end. And it looks like everyone's on drugs. And I really couldn't understand what the hell was going on in that movie, as a younger guy. And then I got in the military, and years later I watched it, and the light comes on that, wow, man, this is a guy on a mission to go kill an Army colonel who's gone rogue, and he's up there doing really bad things, and bad depending on who you are. He was up there killing bad guys, but doing it in a really bad way. And Martin Sheen, to see him now, he was just such a young guy, played that role really well. I love that movie. I don't know. What'd you guys think of it?
I never saw it.
Yeah, if you didn't, Walt, it's really interesting. This guy just gets orders that you need to go way upriver and go find a colonel that has gone off the map. He's gone off the grid, who's doing bad things, and we need you to kill him. And the whole movie's about his mission up that river and everything he encounters. And then when he finally meets the guy, Colonel Kurtz, I think was the guy. But it's a twisted, kind of darker movie. But Martin Sheen again, man, 10 thumbs up on that one. He played that role fantastic.
Favorite Martin Sheen movie is The Final Countdown, where the USS Nimitz goes back in time and has a chance to stop the Germans from bombing Pearl Harbor. That's
Belushi.
That's what Admiral. It's the Japanese from bombing it, and he had the greatest line, Kirk Douglas. "I took an oath to protect the country. It never said what time I had to do it. Just said I had to protect the country." And he was going to stop the Japanese fleet, but he got taken back and brought back to the future. But that's my favorite Martin Sheen movie.
That was a great movie. That one was the people who wrote that, man, they really made you think. That was a weird concept. It was a weird concept, and I did too. I liked it a lot.
Love the time travel.
When I start thinking about Apocalypse Now, and I think about that time, I remember, which we didn't put in the list, was Space Odyssey 2001 was like one of my favorite movies. That's another really long movie that you had to like sit there and like try to figure out like where are we going with this, and that was another great movie. Great movie. I like a lot of people. It's a sci-fi. A lot of people are not into sci-fi. I super love sci-fi. Matter of fact, I just pulled up a picture of it. There's the old. That's the picture of, I guess.
Was it Hal? Hal, right?
Hal, yeah.
Was the computer?
Yeah. He goes, "Open the pod bay doors, Hal. Open it." "No, I'm sorry, I can't do that right now." I remember it was a great movie. Great movie. And at the end, you'd wonder what it means and all that stuff. A lot of deep movie. Now, here's a movie that this is Jerry's also, I believe.
Oh, you bet.
That's up by me, right?
I liked Her, but I wasn't crazy about this movie.
You didn't like it?
No, I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't like, oh, this is the greatest movie. It was like, I don't know.
It's Baby.
It didn't appeal to me.
Nobody puts Baby in the corner. I mean, that's the line, at the end of the movie. I liked it because it kind of like, in a weird way, like Saturday Night Fever, it brought out a new style of dancing. I mean, people were kind of trying to imitate this semi-dirty dancing, and it was the soundtrack and the music in it I thought was really good. I like that.
So good. Yep.
And I just like the good guy wins. All along the father thinks that Patrick Swayze is a bum and he's nowhere up to. I mean, in the end, you find out he's the good guy. He's the one who was trying to help people. And for me, I liked it. I still like it, but I kind of like Patrick Swayze, in his movies.
Not my favorite Patrick Swayze movie. That was Point Break. When he played Bodie, the guy. But you must have been, if you like this movie, you must have loved Footloose.
Oh yeah, Footloose for me was And seeing Kevin Bacon so young, man, you see him now, and he was just a kid, in that movie. And I can kind of relate to that because, I grew up where I was telling you in Oklahoma, we were big time in the Bible Belt. You couldn't go just to a bar and get a drink. They had a really weird system where you brought your own bottle and checked it in. I mean, it was very religious. And so, I could sort of understand a town like that didn't view dancing, to be good. And so I thought it was a John Lithgow, I think was the
father,
the father, who was the minister in the town.
Preacher.
But, yeah. But I like, the song, Kenny Loggins, man, he made that song and it fit the movie. And another one you still hear, and it kind of gives you a lot of energy.
Let me tell you a great story, John. One time I had a 1999 Toyota Corolla. I bought it used. I probably bought it like around, I don't know, maybe 2006 or something like that, 2007. So I took it back because the radio wasn't working. I took it back to the dealer, right, that sold it to me used. And he went in it and he turned on the music. And this one speaker wasn't working. And the song Footloose came on. He goes, "There's your problem." Who owns a disc, the Footloose soundtrack?
Yeah, that's funny.
Now, I don't know where Jerry's begins and yours starts, Walt, because you guys gave me the movies. I only picked one movie. I didn't have time to look anymore. Only my favorite movie. There you go. But I see here, I'm not sure whose movie this is.
Jerry's.
Oh, Jerry. Yeah, man. I love The Lost Boys. That was, again, just a dark kind of a plot. And, Kiefer Sutherland came into being in that movie. He was a mean, rough vampire. And
Jack Bauer as a vampire.
That's right. And I think my favorite part of that whole movie, which is weird because there's some really good stuff and good music and things in it, but the grandfather is like a crazy man throughout the whole movie, and they think he's nuts. And in the very final scene, when they're all about to die, he comes crashing through the wall with his truck and he kills the head vampire. And he gets out of the truck and he goes and he gets a beer. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I think the way he said it was he opens his beer and he goes, if there's one thing that I just can't stand here in Santa Carla, it's all the goddamn vampires. And then he just walks off. And the whole movie, they think the guy's deranged and he's telling about all these things. And it turns out he was the smart guy in the whole time.
Go ahead.
I could just see that Jerry really does love his movies. So I could see he lights up. He likes his
I get all excited, right?
Jerry, favorite vampire movie of all time? Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
With George Clooney.
Yeah, that's a great one.
He attacked all the vampires. They finally get him out of the bar's name was the Titty Twister. So they get him out. They finally get him out. And he goes, let's look here. I do not believe in vampires. However, I do believe in my eyes, and I saw effing vampires.
I love the way they all got killed too. The way they would, through the stake, through the hearts, and all this stuff. That was really cool. That was real. The way they just turned into very, very cool. Now here, Coming to America, big time movie.
Yeah, great movie. I got to tell you, one of the characters in it. If you remember the guy who owned the restaurant, you remember who that was? John Amos.
John Amos. Yeah.
John Amos was Mr. McDowell. So he had the golden. McDonald's had the golden arches. He was McDowell's, and he had the golden arcs. So actually, that movie has got part 2 coming out, like in 3 weeks. I think in 3 weeks it's coming out. Yeah, part 2 coming to America too.
After all these years.
And I think I think I'm going to get John Amos for the show to plug the movie.
Works for me. I was not a big fan of this movie either. It was great. But I was like, it was okay.
Jerry, what's your favorite part of that movie?
I think probably is when Samuel L. Jackson goes into McDowell's and he's a robber.
Yeah.
And Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy, frankly, just beat his ass right in there. Yeah. I mean, they look like they're with a broomstick and some other stuff. I thought that part was really funny. And then I just like the theme, that in the opening scene, the guy, if you remember, he's got a royal butt wiper. I mean, the guy is like, You know, he's royalty and he's got someone that does everything for him. And then to take a guy like that and he goes into Queens, you know, and tries to fit in. It was, I don't know. I just kind of found it kind of cute. You know, it wasn't like, you know, this thing you're glued to the screen, but I think it had a kind of a humorous kind of cuteness to it that I liked.
My favorite part of that movie was when Arsenio Hall was spending money like crazy. So Eddie Murphy takes the money from him because he doesn't want anybody to think they're rich. He takes the money, he puts it in his pocket, and he's walking with the girl along the ocean, the riverfront.
Yeah.
And he hands the money to these two bums that are underneath these cardboard boxes. And it turns out it was Mortimer and Randolph Duke from Trading Places. And he goes, Randolph, we're back.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah. Tied it to that other movie.
Mortimer, we're back.
Yeah.
How about this one here?
Well, that's what we just talked about.
Footloose, the one that you were just talking about.
Yep.
Was it? I wasn't into it. Wasn't into it. How about this?
We did it.
That one. Top Gun.
Can I say one thing on Trading Places real quick?
Yeah.
You know what I never really understood in the very end scene, you know, they go into Wall Street and they basically take the Dukes for all their money and they somehow make money. But, you know, I don't play horrifically in the stock market and all that, but I do a little bit. And I just really never really understood how they did that. So just for fun, I Googled it. And man, there is stuff all over the internet that goes into great detail, how much they bought per share of these orange futures and how it happened and how much they actually made. I think they made, based on the words that they said in the movie, like $250 some million is what they made that day.
Back in '80, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, but I just found it humorous that somebody's actually gone out there, taken all the words, done the math, and actually computed how they won all that money.
Actually, what they did in the end of that movie is what happened to GameStop just recently. They shorted shorted all the GameStop, where they shorted these guys went in and shorted all the orange juice, and then because and everybody was buying it because the report came out that crop was going to be good. Or they thought the crop was going to be bad, so they were all buying it, and then it came out that it was good because they switched it with Beaks. Remember Beaks?
Oh yeah, Beaks, man. He ends up in a cage with a monkey. You know?
in like Africa. Africa.
What a horrible ending, man, for that guy.
That's because where is Beaks?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then at the end they bought it all back to cover their shorts, and they bought it back as it was dropping, and that's how they made all their money.
Yeah,
it's the greatest movie to me of all time. One of the greatest movies of all time.
Love it. One of my favorites of all time. Steve Martin is one of my is if not my favorite comic of all time. But this movie was really it was amazing.
He's the Borat of the '80s. The Borat of the '80s. That's what you call it, if you think about it.
Actually, I think that movie was in the '70s.
Yeah,
but it was a classic movie. I mean,
great, just great.
He grew up in a black family as a poor black child. He called himself a poor black child, and he went out to find the world. And he went out himself as Navin R. Johnson, and he took on the world, man. And he made himself millions. From a stupid little gimmick that he put on the front of the glasses called the Opti Grab.
And then he loses it all, which is, by the way, just what real business is always about. You go out, you do well, you think you're on top, and then somebody comes and sues you and takes it all away.
But how did he lose it, John?
I don't remember.
I do. Jerry?
No, I don't remember either.
The Opti Grab came on, right? The Opti Grab, so you could grab it, you wouldn't bend your glasses on the side. You grab it, right? So one guy, which was Carl Reiner, came in and he goes, "Look at what it did to my eyes."
Right, cross-eyed.
And then everybody sued him for all the money because their eyes became crossed because of the Opti Grab.
Yep. Great.
Right. Yeah.
Another one there, Walt. Porky's.
Come on, Jerry. One of your favorites of all time.
This movie, and what's really weird, this was also just on about 3 weeks ago, and I almost had forgotten about the movie. And man, a bunch of derelict dudes, you know, take on the bar owner and go after him and beat him in the end. You know, so the story's good, but my gosh, the antics along the way, they were kind of revolutionary, you know, for their time.
And they had some classic characters in that movie, which was Pee Wee and Meat.
Yeah,
Porky's was the name of the bar that they went to, and they got their asses kicked for going in there underage, and you know they brought back the sheriff was actually Porky's brother, you know, but a lot of it was just Kim Cattrall was in it. She played a great part, and just the scene where you know they're looking in the hole and into the bathroom and they see all the girls naked showering each other and all that kind of stuff. A funny movie, great movie.
Now, here's another one that everyone was into. This was huge for years, for decades. I mean, it became like a cult classic. And again, as a kid, I kind of missed the boat on this.
You did?
Yeah.
Not me.
Now you getting dressed up and going to the movies?
In Oklahoma, did they have the midnight theater where you would go and watch it at night in the midnight theater on Saturday night?
No, I'm the same way. I missed it as a kid. I really did. And then it was later in life, you know, where I watched it and you know, the music and everything, loved it. But no, I missed it as a kid myself. I
still listen to that soundtrack. It's an awesome soundtrack. And I mean, it's a silly movie about, you know, where two people, it was Barry Bostwick and Susan Sarandon. It wasn't no slouches of actors. Tim Curry played Frankenfurter. And the music was tremendous, but we used to go to the movies on midnight on Saturday night to see this, and you'd have to bring in like newspapers and a spray bottle and toast and a deck of cards and rice and toilet paper, and you had cues when you threw them in the theater.
Wasn't there things you yell out at the screen too, like where they're?
Oh yeah, I mean it was crazy. You know, I had one friend who yelled out the wrong line at the wrong time, and the Italian audience attacked him throughout the whole movie. You know, don't be a novice. If you're gonna yell it out, make sure you're yelling it out right.
What they do? Throw popcorn at him? What did they do?
They rice at him. They were throwing rice at him. They were throwing you know, they were squirting him with the water bottles.
How about this one? How about this one? The Three Amigos. Great cast.
Loved it. Loved it.
Great cast and good like dry humor, you know, just one of them that, you know, you got to watch this thing and just go, what the hell am I watching here? But it was funny, you know, for me, it was funny.
I showed I was trying to get my son's attention, my 18-year-old son. I was trying to get his attention and he wasn't answering. So I showed him the part where Steve Martin was up on the roof. They were trying to steal their costumes from the studio they had just gotten fired from. And he's up there, and the signal was, whoo, whoo. And they're not listening. He's like, whoo, hey, you, hey, hey. And they're down there filing their nails, picking their teeth. And it was just, and he started yelling at these guys. And my son couldn't stop laughing at it, but it was great movie.
I'm zipping through these movies here, and I keep seeing this Smokey and the Bandit. Here's another one, Freaky Friday.
Now, you know why I put that up, Jerry? I put this up, and I'm sure you saw this, but that was the first movie where that premise happened, like in 10 more movies, where the daughter changes into the mother and the mother changes into the daughter, and then yeah, I loved it. Big. I love it. I don't, you know, it's sad that he is a Greek citizen and he's in the Illuminati.
It's Illuminati right now.
No, that was a great movie. Big was great. And that was another great premise.
But didn't he change places, the bodies too, with people? Another movie, and Jamie Lee Curtis too, where they did the swap. Jamie Lee Curtis too.
Well, that was Freaky. That was another Freaky Friday.
Oh, another Freaky Friday. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was a takeoff on Freaky Friday. But Big was he went to like one of those Zoltar machines at a carnival, and he said he wishes he was big because he kept getting picked on, and he became Tom Hanks. So Tom Hanks was like
the most popular toy that came into that catalog for the holiday season that year. What was it?
The piano that they were on, him and Robert Loggia.
The one that you walk on. Yeah, that became the big thing. Yeah, big thing. And here's the classic. Everyone who doesn't like that.
I bet I've seen this movie 50 times. Sure. I love this movie. It's just I don't know if universities like this movie, but that set the tone for a lot of fraternities in the future. What life was going to be like. So many. I mean, there's so many scenes in there you could jump into and talk for 15 minutes on it. Great movie.
Oh, without a doubt, that was John Belushi's first movie when he came out. And I got to tell you, I wasn't old enough to get into the movies at the time because it was R-rated. And me and a friend were going to try it, and then we decided to ask the older couple in front of us if they would buy us tickets, and they did. They got us in, and that was another where you got to see a booby scene where he was up on the ladder, and he fell back. And that's another one, Jerry, where the soundtrack just never gets old.
It doesn't. I think my favorite line in that whole movie, and there's a ton of them, but my favorite line is when they're all standing in front of Dean Wormer. And he says, "Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son." It's just because you remember Flounder was the one guy. Larry Dorfman, I think, or something was his. Yeah. Kent Dorfman was his name in the show.
Legacy
is a legacy. Yeah. Fat, drunk, and stupid.
Look at you. As kids, we remember all the booby shots. That's what we remember as a kid because you couldn't wait to see a pair of breasts. But we couldn't wait to see breasts when we're 14, and now we're 50 and we have them. It's pretty sad. But yeah, that was
so true. Anytime we want.
That really was a really great movie. Now you put this one up here. Oh, we had somebody on from this one, Jaws.
Yeah, we had. I was watching that the other day. We had on Alex Kintner as a guest one time when we talked about the movie Jaws.
Wow.
But that was another one where you can recite lines like "Chief Hooper drives the boat." There's so many lines from that movie. We need a big abode, Yeah,
that movie scared me, man. I was again younger, and it was vicious. I had never seen a movie that was just that kind of carnage, and scary, And I think it was for quite some time before I was much older, before I'd ever even get in the ocean.
I think you and everybody else, though. I think everybody was frightened by that.
Yeah.
If you think about it today, with the political correctness and the cancel culture, a lot of these things wouldn't be today acceptable as easily. Like, for instance, this one. You remember this one? Of course you do. Arthur.
Loved it.
Yeah, but all right. Now, Dudley Moore, Liza Minnelli. Now, he was a drunk.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be. Is that acceptable today to be a fun drunk guy in a movie today?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's a strange one.
But I'll tell you what, I hate Perry's wife. That was a line from the movie. I hate Perry's wife. That's one of Jerry's, The Warriors. I forgot about that.
Who put this in? You did?
Oh, that was mine, man. This is another one of my absolute favorite movies. And, one didn't grow up in that kind of world in Oklahoma, so I wasn't around, gangs and things like that. And so that movie kind of enthralled, just intrigued me, just to see, these guys that go to a meeting, that's called by the big gang lord. And he makes a rule, I think 9 guys or 11 guys, something you can bring, nobody armed, and then they kill the big gang leader.
Cyrus.
Cyrus. And they blame the Warriors. And these guys have to fight their way all the way home. And
Coney
tough
Island,
dudes,
right?
scary, some of the places they were at. But kind of made gangs in a weird way popular, because the good guys are a bunch of gangs and they end up winning, in the end. But I thought it was
video
a great
games
movie.
too. I think they used that in video games. Did they not? I think there was
James Remar. James Remar was in that. The guy from 48 Hours was in there. Gans. He was one of the guys. But I think his name was Jim Brackett. Yeah, that's 48 Hours. Gans in that. But that was a great movie. But Warriors was a great movie. When that guy was clicking those bottles at the end, and he was like, Warriors, come out.
Yeah, his name was Luther, I think. Luther from their gang, I think, was called the Rogues.
Yeah,
Rogues. But that was Luther was the guy from he was from 48 Hours.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Luther was in 48 Hours. He got in there. He was the one that went and got the money, but he was also in the Warriors. He was the guy that was clicking the bottles at the end.
Yeah.
The Rogues.
Warriors come out and play. He just kept hitting that. Kind of creepy, man. But they got it in the end. I love the finish. Where they're on the beach and the Warriors walk away, and then you know what happens to Luther and his gang. They're all dead.
Yeah, he starts screaming.
Who put this in here? Okay, we got The Sure Thing. Never saw it.
You never saw it?
Nope.
Great movie. Watch it if you can. John Cusack and Daphne Zanuga, but he travels across the country with her to get home to meet the Sure Thing, which is a good-looking girl, and they fall in love with each other. But John Cusack is hilarious in this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
John Cusack was in a great scary movie called Room Something. It was really, really creepy movie.
He's a good actor. He's a good actor.
He's a great actor, but then he's Illuminati. All right, now, I never watched this.
Never?
No.
You ever see this, Jerry?
No, I never saw this. You know what's weird? I'm not a Woody Allen guy. I like so many movies and so many shows, but I haven't seen a lot of his stuff. And it's not that I don't know why. I just never came across my radar.
This movie was great. It was I think it was 4 skits in there, and the last skit was Woody Allen and a bunch of other people. Woody Allen plays a sperm, and Burt Reynolds is working the man, and he's going out on a date, and the whole thing is they're working it up so he can get an erection, so he can have penetration, and the whole thing's going wrong, and they show you the inner workings of a body, but it was pretty funny.
I have to drop you like Newsmax. I'm sorry. We just can't go that direction right now. I'm really sorry. That's not a proven fact.
Hey, sorry, Mike Lindell. See you later.
No pillows for you.
You know what you're making me think of too? Remember there was God with George Burns.
Yeah, oh God.
Oh God. Yeah. Great movie. Great.
Yeah.
Now you just brought me back to that spot. I remember thinking, oh God. Yeah. Wow. How about that? The End.
Never saw it? You never saw that?
I never did.
Oh my God. The End.
No.
You never saw it either, John?
No, I
never saw it.
We all had lives.
That is one of the best Burt Reynolds movies ever.
Really?
He thinks he's gonna die from terminal cancer, so he's trying to kill himself before it happens. And they put him in a mental institution, and Dom DeLuise is there, and they escape together, and it's nothing but the Cannonball Run, except.
I kind of remember that. I probably did see that. Now that you mentioned it, it sounds familiar to me. Yeah. Now, you must have put this up. I didn't like this because I wasn't a sports guy as a kid. There you go.
All right. Listen, stop with my movies because both of you guys have blank stares on your face.
Yeah.
Slapshot was a great movie.
I did see Slapshot. I saw it. But it wasn't one of those that like stuck with me, where I just remember everything about it. It was
great.
Paul Newman? Was it Paul Newman?
Paul Newman was in it. Yep. Michael Onkeen. That's really all the people that you would probably know in it. But it was a class, AAA hockey team, and the exploits of it when they became good. They got these 3 guys that used to just beat people up on the ice, and that's when they became good.
I'm looking at the chat. The chat's always like one behind us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that too, as well. What's interesting about this back in these days, though, is that there's a simplicity to the movie, even though even the premises were great, but there was a simplicity to everything. I mean, It seems a little contrived, but compared to today's kind of shows, I don't know. There's a purist feeling to some of these things. I remember looking back on, wow. I'm thinking
that was a couple weeks ago.
That was before your diet, right?
Yeah.
That's before you took a shake in the morning. Was he basically on the Deal-A-Meal, aren't you? Right now, Deal-A-Meal.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm super interested in this now. After you guys bring this up, I think I'm going to go upstairs and watch High Plains Drifter. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that too.
I promise you guys, you will like it. It's Clint Eastwood is just a badass, and he makes people pay in every direction for not helping him.
Now I got to watch that. That or Breaking Bad. I'm going to watch it.
Breaking Bad is great. Breaking Bad is so great.
Listen,
great.
we are at an hour and 20.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit this down by a half hour. I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
That's how much fun this was.
It is fun, and Jerry, you I can see that you really do. You light up when you talk about the movies. We should do it again. It was a lot of fun. You're a good guy. Yeah. You're all right.
I love it. I like you guys too. You're funny, and I'll chat old stuff with you any day of the week, man. I was born in the wrong era. Should have been born back in those days.
Well, I appreciate you coming along. And Walt, we'll be back next Tuesday
We're
before
gonna try Tuesday, yeah, because I'll be in Jamaica next
man.
week.
Jamaica next week. All right.
Yeah, because the COVID around here is just not up to snuff for me.
All right.
So I'm gonna try to go get some Jamaican COVID if I can.
Yeah, man. Well, we want to thank General Jerry P. Martinez, Commander of the U.S. Forces. We want to thank you so much for coming on here. And Walt, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Thank you again for your service and everybody else who does it.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you, Walt. Thank you, John. This has been a blast. I really appreciate you let me be a part of it with you.
I'm closing the door. Look, closing the door.
What's the thing we wanted to end with? Remember I said let's end it with it every show?
What's end with what?
You were playing it before. Play it to end the
Ladies
show.
and gentlemen, this concludes tonight's performance. As you leave, we ask that you please gather all personal belongings, with the exception of your credit cards and wallets containing cash.
There you
Please
go.
leave those items on the front edge of the stage.
You guys are too much fun. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Jerry. Stay well in
Jerry,
Vegas.
thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend.
Get out of here.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, guys, in the chat. Thanks a lot. If you like what you see, just you know what to do. Pound that like button.
Yeah, subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and I think we're going to try to do wrestling.
Works for me, man. Wrestling works. We're all good.
All right, brother.
See you later. Take care.